Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Ooh, it's already 10 people up in here. Damn. I'm late. My bad. Good evening. Hey, Living POP, hold me down. Hey, and Renee, baby. Champ and Rock are up in there watching football. Welcome back to Slappy Slapster. I saw you. It came back maybe, 2 weeks ago now? I think maybe 2 weeks ago. Welcome back. I hope everything is good with you. Hey, okay, that's everybody. I don't know why I'm out of breath. Hey, Kurt Vixen. I do not know why I am out of breath. Like, for real. I just kind of got short-winded. Hey, Kishana. Good evening. Did I watch the Daryl Brooks already? The Daryl Brooks, the one who drove through the parade? I think he had got sentenced or something like that. Right, Slappy, no problem. And I don't know if you actually been going live a lot since you've been back, because I haven't got any notifications. But, I had taken a hiatus too. So I will definitely go back on your channel and reset the notification bell. But I don't remember having seen any notifications. But I'm going to go back and check. And you know how we got to do some time. Hit the bell, cut it on, cut it off. I walked to the living room, y'all, and made sure and fed my fish and made sure all my boys was okay. My honey, my son, my two fur boys, and then all my fur boy fishes, you know what I'm saying? And trying to get back over here while I was setting up. And just that little walk there alone let me know I need to exercise, okay? I hope y'all had a fantastic day. I myself did. As y'all can tell, I'm talking. Everything is the same with my mouth. I went to the dentist and got the consultation. And I'm going to another place on Saturday. So we are in good, orderly, working condition. So that's why we live tonight with part 2. Yeah, that's why I try to put it on my wall too, in case the notification don't go out. So we are in good operating status. Last night we watched the first part of this trial, the first launch of this trial. Watch with Demetra, the state of Georgia versus Leilani Simon. We did the opening statement last night. I want to make sure, hey, Lady T, glad to see you made it. Last night we started with the opening statements. Okay, let me drop this down here. Why is this still right here? Oh, boom. And so this is our, third trial watch together officially. And this is the state of Georgia versus Leilani Simon. I want to definitely give a sensitive trigger warning. This does revolve around a tragic case that happened in Savannah, Georgia in 2022. October 5th, 2022, Leilani Simon, to the right of this picture with the tears in her eyes, the 24-year-old mother of the victim here, Little Quentin. I find myself calling him Little Quentin, right? I'm watching the Sarah Boone case. Hey, Very Carey, I'm watching the Sarah Boone case. It's a lot of cases, trials going on, headline trials. And this is the one I chose to cover, but I'm still keeping my eye out on the other trials, and my intentions are to do a 3-day recap of the Sarah Boone trial with the highlights of the trial. So stay tuned for that, you guys. But Little Quentin here was 20 months old back in October of 2022 when his mother, Leilani Simon, the state is alleging that she killed her baby. They don't know exactly how. They don't know exactly why, but they know that she did call the police around 9:30 the next morning, reporting him missing. They did get a tip that alerted them to go start looking through the landfills. 32 days later, after an extensive search of that landfill there in Savannah, they found different, they found Quentin's remains. Let's say it like that. Quentin's remains. And he was, in fact, no longer with us. Okay? We heard the state. Yes, that's why I want to definitely say a trigger warning. However, it's very sensitive because it involves his baby. But I think for me, my emotion overload comes in almost with disgust and with anger so far with the defendant. Okay, yesterday we saw the state put on his opening statement. The statement did opening went on for more than 90 minutes. It showed some footage. It showed a suicide attempt or alleged suicide attempt. Okay, it's alleged that Leilani, the mom, and that's Leilani, before she went to jail. That's the baby Quentin. The household was kind of going through a lot. Leilani actually didn't have custody of Quentin and his brother. Leilani had 3 children. A 3-year-old boy, the little Quentin in the middle, 20 months old, and a newborn baby girl. She had already lost custody of the 2 oldest boys to her mother. However, Leilani and her boyfriend and their newborn baby was living in the house with the mother, her stepfather, and her brother. They had instances of the family domestic issues. The cops have been called. The mother had already put out an eviction notice on Leilani and the boyfriend. Almost a month to the day. Thank you. Almost a month to the day that Quentin became up missing. Later on discovered deceased at his mom's hands. We heard so far about a lot of drug use. Okay. The defendant, after we're going to see tonight or in some different footage throughout this trial, where she admits to having taken Percocet, cocaine, marijuana, alcohol, all in that night. She tried to hide the fact about this baby and what happened to him. She lied, and still lying, allegedly. So tonight we're going to start with the first witness that the state is going to call. The state calls as its first witness Sergeant Stewart. Okay, let me get that up here. One moment. Hold on. Let's see. Take this down. Now, one thing about Sergeant Stewart, I want to say, it's not funny. But I get the feeling, okay, with Sergeant Stewart, that it's kind of like, how you could be, like he had been an officer all his life and he had did a good job and he waiting for his retirement. Okay, he 2 days away, just figuratively, from retirement, and all of a sudden he get called out and he the first officer to this particular scene, right? And he was just sliding by doing his little job. He got the easy shift. Okay, and all of a sudden he get this call. He the first one to respond, and now he knee deep in one of the most crucial, most televised, the most eyes on him probably in all of his career. Okay, I don't know if Sergeant Stewart was exactly ready for this situation, and he is the first witness that the state calls, and we're going to see his cross-examination. So it's going to be kind of interesting. Y'all take it easy on Sergeant Stewart. Okay, he wasn't expecting all this late in his career, but he got it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. Thank y'all for joining me. Hey, Shandy, you right on time. Remember, they say all of them should go to prison, except Emma Renee is my resident dog lover. Okay, she say everybody should go to prison except the dog. The one dog in the house belonged to the brother, and he was upstairs with the brother. Okay, and the brother, he gonna testify. We're gonna get to him sometime this week. He is a trip. Okay, but let's get this started. We're starting with the state's first witness. That's what we're gonna watch tonight, because we're gonna get to watch the full direct questioning from the state, and we're gonna get to watch the cross-examination. Okay, all right, and I can assure you guys tonight the audio should be much better. So let's get that going. Of course, I know y'all hit the like. Boom. Oh, let me see. Oh man, every night this happens, but that's okay. That's okay. I have it right here. No need to fret. Boom. B. All right. The state of Georgia versus Leilani Simon. She's facing 19 charges, 3 different counts of murder, malicious murder, felony murder. Golly, I can't never remember that third count of murder, and the rest of the 19 charges are in relation to false statements and false accounts. And they charged her on every lie she told individually. Okay, so it's gonna start here. Let's see. Close that. Oh shoot! Sorry, you guys. I be having this all set up already, but that's okay. Hey, the beef, you right on time. Right living. I still need a tooth fund. Y'all know I paid $60 today to go to the dentist just for him to look at my tooth. Okay. I was like, are you serious? All right, here we go. And again, the volume should be much better. Y'all drop a 1 once y'all can hear the court, okay? There goes Judge Tammy Stokes. This is taking place in Savannah, Georgia. The trial started last Monday. We're behind, and we're going to be following a few days behind. Okay, they're not saying nothing yet. Hey, Lady Steph, you're right on time. All right, living. Anybody walk in after this? They late. No, I'm kidding. I gotta stop doing that for people to be scared to drop down late. All right. Lady Steph, the volume should be much better on this. The state first witness. First officer on the scene, Sergeant Stewart.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yeah, that's the judge.
Stewart, Stewart.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And what do you do for a living, sir?
I am a sergeant with the Chatham County Police Department.
Hence the uniform?
Hey, Winter.
Okay. How long have you been a police officer?
Oh, I grew up in said hey to you.
4.5 years.
And I was looking for
And
you
how
too.
long have
Okay,
you
y'all
been
can
a
hear.
sergeant,
Good. Let me be quiet.
With the police department specifically?
Quite a while. Can't tell you exactly how many years, but it's been quite a while.
Not quite a while. Sergeant Stewart now. Child.
Current position?
I'm a patrol sergeant. Watches, we have different watches. We have A watch, C watch, D watch, and C watch. A, B, and C, and D.
And are these different shifts?
Yes, sir. Different shifts.
What are the hours for A watch?
A watch, hours now today is
Welcome
6
back,
to
Sweet
6.
Pappy. Just getting started. He just saying his name and what he do.
Okay, so it's essentially the daytime.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is your position? Patrol sergeant for A watch, you said?
Yes, sir.
What are your responsibilities in that role?
My responsibility is for the shift that we're on. I'm responsible for doing the briefing. At the beginning of the shift, I assign officers to divisions
None of them, T.
in Chatham County.
Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the morning of October.
What happened? Let me see.
Yes, sir.
Were you working that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
And what?
October 5th. Why is he doing this?
Patrolling Chatham County.
Okay. Any particular precinct?
Why is he doing this?
I was in the West Chatham precinct of Chatham Parkway.
And were you the assigned to the West Chatham precinct?
Yes, sir.
And how many of them were there at that point? Patrol officers on the west side?
It should be a total 7 or 8 that day.
Okay. Now, at some point on that day, on the morning of October 5th, did you respond to a call for service originating from 535 Buckhalter Road?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what was the nature of the
It was at first very caring,
out there?
but it looked like it stopped now.
Now, when you get called out to a particular location on a particular call, do you yourself hear the 911 call?
You talking about on the radio?
Yes, do you hear the 911 call that was made, or are you just getting a call from a dispatcher?
No, sir, I don't hear what was said, when the person calls in.
Okay.
The only thing I
Thank
hear
you,
is
Livin.
dispatch, what the dispatch tells us.
And the word from dispatch initially was it's a missing child call.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did you go to 535 Buckhalter Road?
Yes, sir, I did.
And how did you get there?
It was in my marked patrol vehicle. I drove there. I think if I'm not mistaken, I went down Chatham Parkway.
And
To-
what, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Chatham Parkway to Gorod Avenue to Buckhalter Road.
And what type of residence is 535 Buckhalter Road?
It's a two-story, like a single-family dwelling.
Okay. Do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 1?
Yes, sir, I did.
Can you look through that and tell us what it is, please?
It's, it would be to the east of Highway 17 on Buckhalter Road, which is off of Gorod Avenue.
Well, I just mean, what is the document in front of you, State's Exhibit 1? It's more than one page, is it not?
Oh, yes, sir.
Welcome,
Yes.
Demetra. Thank y'all for coming through. Okay,
Look
good,
like,
y'all.
Maps off of Google.
And do those maps accurately reflect the location of?
Right, Lady T. She lucky she's not facing the
in
death
Chatham
penalty.
County?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer State's Exhibit 1 into evidence at this time.
I think I've already seen it, Judge.
Yes, Mr. Hilliard, and just make sure you speak loud enough so that Ms. Nally can capture your words.
I'm just gonna look through several of them. I think I've already seen them, Judge. I just want to make sure.
I don't, for the life of me, understand why they come to trial, want a big trial, and don't have studied their reports the night before or something. I don't get that. But I'm an overachiever, so
Your
hey.
Honor, may I now publish these on the screens?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna see pictures and body cam footage with this
State's
witness.
Exhibit 1. This is the, I guess, Savannah, Chatham County metro area.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. And is 535 Buckhalter marked on this, this map here?
Yes, sir, it is.
And can you step down and just point to us where that is on here?
You talk about, oh man. Thank you. I remember to cut the volume up
Just
recording
to the left of
for
Garrard
most of
Avenue.
them.
Correct.
All right.
I'm
thanks.
glad, y'all.
Sit down. Now, moving on to slide 2, this is a beat map of Chatham County Police Department, beat 7, correct?
Yes, sir.
And beat 7 is further broken down into a number of neighborhoods, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And is 535 Buckhalter marked on this map as well?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what is it marked by?
It is marked by Buckhalter and Gorod Avenue.
Is it that red pin there that we see?
That is correct.
Okay. And 535 Buckhalter then would be in the Garrard Buckhalter neighborhood of beat 7, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, moving to slide 3, what are we looking at here?
Slide 3 is showing Buckhalter Road. It's also showing the residence where we responded to.
Okay, and that's marked by the red pin there?
That's correct, sir.
Those houses got a lot of property, a
And
lot of
finally,
land.
Slide 4, what are we looking at here?
Slide 4 is another photo of the residence, but it's a closer photo.
Okay. Now, when you responded to this resident, you mentioned you showed up in your patrol car. Where did you park?
I parked in the driveway just outside of the gate.
Okay, so the jurors can't see what you're pointing at on that picture, so if you could just step down and tell us where you parked.
Officer Stewart say he didn't come there for all that standing up. Hey, YW, first witness, just getting started.
And you can have a seat, sir, thank you. And when you arrived, were there any other officers with you?
Yes, sir.
And who were those?
There was two other officers that came in behind me. Corporal Jepson was one, and then the other also I think was Boss.
Okay. Daniel Voss?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about Philip Gormley? Was he there as well?
He came in right behind them.
Okay. And when you arrived, did you make contact with the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Where did you make contact with the defendant?
Just as I walked through the gate, they were walking towards the gate.
And who's they?
I saw a female, the lady sitting here with the glasses.
Okay. The witnesses identified the defendant. And what other, aside from police officers, what other people were on scene at the time that you arrived?
Myself. Are you talking about officers, sir?
No, other than police officers, what other people were on
The
scene?
people that I saw the young lady there. I saw a male subject, which I later found out was her boyfriend. And there was a little small child. And there was one more person standing back behind them.
Okay.
I think that was her brother.
Hey, Sunshine, good to see you.
That was her brother.
I missed you the
Was there
last
also
day.
a person there who was
Last
identified
couple of
as a babysitter
Yes, sir.
and her daughter?
Yes, sir. She walked up behind me
Okay.
when I got there and walked around in front.
Okay. Anyone else there that you remember who was there on arrival?
No.
Okay. Now, how did your initial contact with the defendant play out in the driveway right inside the gate there?
When I got there, she was walking towards me. She got to me and I asked her, "What's going on?"
And what did she say?
She told me that the child was missing.
Did she say when she had become aware of that?
Earlier that morning, if I'm not mistaken, I think she said around 6, I think, or something like that earlier when she had got up.
Okay. When 6 was for when she got up or when the child might have gone missing? Do you remember?
I think she said when she woke up, she was looking for the child. Shot one there.
Okay. And did she say anything to you about the door, the front door?
Yes, sir. She said when she woke up, the door was open, the front door to the house,
And the child was gone?
and the child was gone.
Okay. While you were there talking to her about this, did she cast suspicion on anybody who might have been responsible for the disappearance of her child?
Yes, sir, she did. She said she think that her ex might have took the child, and if I'm not mistaken, I think she said that was the child's father, I think.
Okay. So she said the child's father might have taken it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as the senior man on scene, you were the senior man initially, right?
I missed what time he said he
Once
arrived
you
on the
got
scene.
this
Hey, Muffin.
initial story, what do you then shift gears into doing?
Well, we shifted gears, and I asked her what was the last place she saw him, and she told me in the bed there, and then the front door, we assumed by him going out the front door. If he went out the front door, then it could have been the front yard, and then there was woods behind the house, and there was the roadway of Buckholder Road, which passed in front of the
Hey, chill out, you made it.
So you could south of the house and then north of the house.
Did you task out some officers to search the house itself?
Yes, I did, sir. While I was talking to her, I asked her, did they search the house and look for him? She said yes. So I said, well, we're going to search it again. So I sent 2 officers in the house.
Do you remember which two?
I think it was Gormley and I think Jepson.
Okay. And did they go do that?
Yes, sir.
And what was, you mentioned Daniel Voss was one of the initial officers there with you. What was his role?
He was talking to the lady.
Okay.
Good evening, ZX. Thank you for coming through.
Did you, at any point, did you call other officers out beyond the initial 4, you, Gormley, Jepson, and Voss?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what did you want additional officers there for?
To aid in the search of the area. It was quite a big size area. And once they started arriving, I had officers check to the south of the residence, down to Veterans Parkway, and also had officers check to the
Hey,
north,
Kathy, I'm glad you joined.
up to the
The
garage.
gang's all here.
Now, you had officers
Except for one
canvassing
step.
the area looking for the boy himself, right?
Hey, Sean.
And what else did you have them go out and look for?
I advised them to check the residence as they was checking the area, see if there was any cameras.
First officer on site,
Green
Sergeant
mobile cameras and things
Stewart.
like that. So you had people out doing that.
Yes, sir.
And did you also have them canvassing for witnesses, potential people who might have seen the child either on his
Diamond, you're late.
Yes, we told them to knock on the door.
Good evening.
Make contact with the people that live there, see if they knew anything.
So initial effort focuses on searching the house and searching the general area around the house, if I'm understanding you. Did you yourself personally search any particular area?
I did.
And can you tell us about that?
Good
I was
evening,
standing,
Silky Black.
Just inside the gate, the backyard.
Glad you joined us.
There was a open shed to the right. It had an RV. We walked over in that area, me and another officer, and checked it. And we left there and went. There was a shop directly behind the house. We checked that area, but it was locked up. We inquired about a key, but they said there was, the gentleman who had the key to it wasn't there. So we searched around it, looked at behind the stuff that was there. Nothing.
Okay. So you weren't able to get into the RV initially because of lack of a key?
Correct.
Okay. Did the officers that showed up to help with the search efforts, where did they come from?
There was other officers that was assigned to my team that day.
Okay. The same beat 7 or different beats?
No, sir. They was from beat 8 and beat 9.
Okay. Those are other patrol areas in the West Chatham area?
When they got a missing child, everybody, all hands on deck.
Floating in from other places to help out.
Yes, sir. When you have a missing child, you call everybody over.
Okay. Now, at any point during your response, were you involved in making any follow-up on this claim by the defendant that perhaps the boy's father was responsible?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell us about that, please?
While I was, myself and Officer Boss was there, I asked the lady if she knew where he lived.
You asked what lady?
The lady here with the black glasses.
Okay. You asked the defendant whether she knew where whom lived?
The ex.
Okay. The boy's father?
Yes, sir.
And what did she tell you?
She told me a county. I wrote it all down. She told me where he lived at. She gave me the county that he lived in.
Pause. I do not, for the life of me, I cannot figure out why Sergeant Stewart, excuse me. I don't know who uncle this is, but I don't understand why he would not. Thank you for the cash app. I don't understand why he won't say the defendant. Why he won't say the defendant name. He keep talking about that young lady over there. He don't barely want to look at her, right? I don't know what that's about. But, you know, he the first officer on the scene. And like I told y'all, I don't think he was expecting to be in the middle of a case this big, right? But he getting his search party together. You know, so let me keep going here. I am just overwhelmed by all y'all in the chat. I'm so glad to see everybody. Thank y'all for supporting this content. Trial Watch with Demetra. I have no doubt that you guys have hit the like. Make sure that y'all take part in the conversation here in the jury box, the Little Lane jury box. Okay, this is the state of Georgia versus Leilani Simon. She's accused of unaliving her 20-month-old son, Quentin. They found his body 32 days later after reporting him missing, unfortunately, in a landfill. She's on trial, 19 counts, 3 of them different degrees of murder. Let's continue.
So what I did is I contacted that police department in that county.
And what did you ask them to do?
The baby daddy stayed 85 miles away, by the way.
The name that I was looking for, and asked them did they know of him. And while I was talking to her, she told me she didn't know the address, but she gave me some reference points.
What do you mean by that?
Like she told me there was some reference points. There was a store. She told me the name of the store, and I think she said it was a little campground or something. But she told me the name of it, and it was a large sign there. So I gave that information to the officer who called me back from the county.
Okay.
He told me, I think I know what it is.
All right. So you said she gave you some reference points of like businesses near
That's
where
correct.
the boy's father lived?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To kind of walk you on to the general area?
That's correct.
Okay. And was there any result from that while you were out there?
The officer that called me and talked to me, he went out and searched.
Sergeant, I'm going to instruct you not to tell the court anything that someone else said.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Was calling that information out to the county in question, was that the end of your personal involvement in the follow-up on the suggestion that the boy's father might have had something to do with it?
Thanks, Jalal.
At any point, did any of your superiors show up?
Yes, sir.
And who was the first one?
Lieutenant Foster.
And where is he in relation to you in the chain of command, the rank structure?
He was my lieutenant for that watch.
Okay. About how long did he get there after you arrived?
It was pretty quick, because once I got the initial information about what was going on.
For those of you whose night tonight is your first night, Leilani, literally they have videotape of her going to the dumpster in the middle of the night around 2 something in the morning. And that's what she is accused of, and it was found out that's where she dropped Quentin's the baby body. And this exact dumpster, this is not the day of, but the dumpster was in front of the Azalea mobile home park. And this is a picture of the dumpster there in front of that mobile home park. And so I felt like it was safe to say that the dumpster was pretty much probably in the same type of condition. But yes, this is where she disposed of her son, her middle boy, her second boy body, 20-month-old Quentin. Let's continue.
The standard is you contact the lieutenant and advise him what you have.
Okay. And did he come out and become the senior man on scene after a little while?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did anybody else from the Chatham County Police Department command staff show up?
Yes, sir. There was the detectives showed up. There was the assistant chief showed up. There was the detectives, lieutenant captains. They all showed up.
Okay. Do you remember who was first on scene for the detectives?
I think it was Detective Lemons. I think that was the first person I made contact with and talked to.
Okay.
There was other detectives there.
Did Detective Wilkins come out?
Yes.
And what about Detective Noble?
Yes, he was there.
Okay. At any point, was there a response by a canine tracking team?
Yes, sir.
No, she dropped his body in the dumpster, but they found his body in parts, chill out, in the landfill. You got it right.
And they came in. They called them in. I think it was around Reedsville.
And when they arrived, what did they do?
They came in. They was in the front yard, and they was talking to the lieutenant. And I guess after that, they went and did a search.
Now, you mentioned that detectives showed up after some time, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, once the detectives show up, who's in control of the scene?
The detectives.
Okay, so at that point, they took control and sort of relieved the patrol officers of command?
Yes, sir.
Okay. About how long were you at the scene total?
It was quite a while. Probably, I would say probably about 2 hours.
Now, you mentioned that the defendant, her boyfriend, and her brother were present at the scene when you arrived, right?
That's correct, sir.
Now, at some point, were they transported to headquarters for questioning?
They were.
And were you involved in that in any way?
No, sir. A couple of my units were. They assisted the detectives.
Do you remember who that was?
No, I don't.
Okay. Now, after your involvement at the scene concluded, were you involved in any other organized searches for the missing child?
I did.
Can you tell us about that, please?
Once I left Buckholder Road, I was advised to go to the church. There's a church that's located on the corner of Garrard Avenue and Lewis Mills Boulevard.
And what was happening at the church?
At the church, they was having other resources come in to do the search. Other officers were coming in, and I think they had a civilian search team that came in.
Okay, what do you mean by other resources coming in to do the search?
When they have something, and when they have events where they have missing children, they are calling in other agencies and ask for assistance. Sheriff Department, and then you just have a lot of other people come in and help us aid with the search.
And when did that search take place, and how long did it last?
It took place right after I left Buckholder. It came down. All the units started coming in, and I think we had a representative from SEMA that was there too.
SEMA being Chatham Emergency Management
Yes, sir.
Agency or Authority.
I'm going to pause it right quickly because I see that there's questions in the chat. So I don't see what Lady T. Oh, she dismembered him. No, she did not dismember him. What happened, what the state is alleging, is because she disposed of the body in the dumpster, right? Because she put the body in the dumpster, it was picked up she did it like in the middle of the morning, like 2 o'clock in the morning. That next morning, we heard in the opening statements, but they'll say it again during the trial. The trash company picked up the trash like around, that morning, regular route. They pick up this dumpster, they empty it out into the trash truck, and the truck had the garbage compactors. Right, so the garbage, the trash got picked up. It was compacted in the truck, and Renee is right. When they dropped the haul off, the trash off at the landfill, we heard during the opening statements of how at the landfill they also go through and compact and shred and try to to do the trash, and so that's how the baby body became broken. Okay, from the compacting and all they process at that landfills, so it's really horrible. And they even showed last night during the opening statements. I think this is worth mentioning. They showed they actually showed a picture of a bone fragment, quite a big bone fragment. They didn't say what it was, right? And when they showed that picture of that bone fragment, even the people watching the trial like us, they left it up for like a minute or so, and the defendant, she wasn't even crying. She just sat there emotionless. But when they talked about her boyfriend and the problem she had been having in her relationship with her boyfriend during the opening statements, she cried uncontrollably, to the point that she had to take off her glasses, wipe her eyes, wipe her glasses. Welcome back, sweet Vampy. But when they showed the baby bones, no emotion like that. So it's quite interesting as we watch it unravel. You guys, this is just the actual first witness, and so that we heard a lot of information during the opening statements, but they're gonna really get into all of it. Okay. And I'm going to try to pause it when I see different discussions going on.
How many people were involved in this search that you're talking about that originated at the church?
I would say there was probably about 50 people there.
And what were y'all doing?
You saw that lady too?
Well, once they got them to the church, they briefed them on what was going on, and they briefed them on the areas that they wanted to search.
Okay. And what happened after that?
And once that was over, they broke up in groups, and they searched the area.
Everybody had a particular area that they were responsible for?
Sir.
And how long were you doing that for?
I would say probably another hour and a half.
Okay. What time of day are we at this point, roughly?
It's getting dark. It's late afternoon.
Okay. And when had you initially arrived?
To the church, where?
To the residence in response to the initial call.
It was just a minute.
Sure.
9:42.
Now, were you wearing a body-worn camera that day?
Yes, sir.
Where was it located on your body?
Right in my chest area.
And is that thing always running, or do you have to turn it on?
Yes, sir, it's on.
Okay.
We require, once we get on a call, it has to be on before we get out of the vehicle.
Okay. So how do you turn it on before you get out of the vehicle?
There's a round button in the center. You tap it twice, and it activates it.
And did you do that upon arrival in this case?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And were your interactions with the defendant that you've described captured on body-worn camera?
Yes, sir.
And were the arrivals of some of these other officers captured on your body-worn camera as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you see in front of you an envelope marked as State's Exhibit 2?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize it?
I signed. I wrote my name and everything on the front of it.
Okay, and that's an envelope, a sealed envelope.
Yes, sir. It's sealed.
What's inside of there?
Feels like
Right, chill out. But that's, even when drugs are not involved, a lot of time with the shaking baby syndrome, people and how they react and manage and cope.
that's what it feels like.
You put drugs on top of that
Yes, sir.
and unstableness,
And does
it's
it
a bad
fairly
combination.
accurately depict your response to 535 Buckhalter in response to this missing child call?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer this into evidence as State's Exhibit 2.
No objection.
And I would like to just publish a little bit from the beginning of the file.
A lot of times in these cases, while they're not talking, we see that they prioritizing these men over their children. A lot of time with these, what is it called? What is it called when the mother kills their children? Is that, I know it's patricide. Is it infanticide? Let me look it up. It's a name for it. Believe it or not, I barely dated when my kids was little. Barely. I just didn't have time.
The time now is.
It wasn't a priority.
1:10. Let's come back.
Now this is why they was talking about the judge, baby. They was talking about she take too many breaks.
All right.
But that's why I do it a little bit behind, so we can actually skip over the breaks and all that type of stuff. All right. So she takes a lot of breaks. But the very first day, and I don't think I recorded it, but like the very first day, she literally had to admonish the juror because they were asleep. One of the jury people was asleep and kept sleeping. Uh-oh. Hold on.
And so after the prosecution gave their opening statements to the
What the
defense,
hell?
taking the stand around.
Oh, hold on. Okay, there you go. They're coming back in. Child.
Okay, so Mr. Hilliard, you're ready. Okay, let's bring the jury.
I love the judge. She's so classy looking. So classy based. Let me see what it's called when a mother. What is it called when a mother kills her child? Filicide. Okay, it's called filicide, y'all. Now, see, Winter, that's what the people in the chat were saying, that she was going to smoke them Newports, child. Y'all remember I said that, I made mention that yesterday. This is what had the people in the one of the larger trial watch channels. They was like, what is up with this judge? And baby, this first day, she took so many breaks. They were saying that she was going to smoke them 100 Newports. Then they were saying that she was that she had diarrhea. Baby, they was letting the judge have it. She did take a lot of breaks. I'm not going to even lie.
All
But
right,
they,
thank you,
okay,
Deputy
let me be
Solomon.
quiet.
Please have a seat.
Let me be quiet. Okay, so it's called filicide. I'm going to put it in the chat.
I'm going to publish a portion of State's Exhibit 2 by playing from the very beginning of this video file, and I will state for the record when I stop the playback.
Okay. Yeah, you can take Marine 3 off the board. He's got to log out yesterday. He's off today.
I woke up about 11 o'clock and my husband was working about 6, so between a 3-hour period, somehow the front door is unlocked and my son is not in his sleeping.
I've stopped the playback at 9:54:45.
Thanks for sharing the video, you guys, and hitting the like.
In the top right corner. Now, Sergeant Stewart, that timestamp in the top right corner of the frame, does that reflect the time of day it is?
Yes, sir.
And I asked you earlier about what time you responded, what time you got there, and I think you were testifying from memory at that point. But what does this video file reflect here in the top right corner is when you arrived and made contact with the defendant?
9:54 a.m.
Okay, 9:54. Now, do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 3?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
It's a photograph of what you see when you.
All right, so let's pause, because finally we just heard the time. What time did what time? I meant to write it down. So his body cam said, like, what was it? 9:43, you guys? Is it 9:43? I think he said something like 9:43 a.m. Right? Now, mind you, she said that when she woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, she saw that Quentin was not in his bed, he was missing, and that the front door was open at 6 a.m. The cops didn't get called, and the first officers did not arrive until after 9:30 that morning. That's 3.5 hours. What in the world would have you not call the police for 3.5 hours when you wake up first thing in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning and your baby is nowhere to be found? Just a thought. Not in his blanket, right? That she acting, right? It's a lot, and she's so upset, but she didn't call the. Hey, LaKendra, thank you for joining. But she don't call the cops until after 9 o'clock in the morning. She been up for 3 hours. That baby been gone. What she been doing? Cleaning up the drugs, hiding the stuff, smoking, doing another line, taking another pill. Let's continue. Just a thought.
First walk past the gate.
Just one or a whole stack?
There's a stack.
Behind her in that
Now,
yellow
this
vest
still
is her
frames
boyfriend,
drawn
Danny
from
Youngkin.
Your body-worn camera footage from that day.
Yes, sir.
And do they fairly and accurately depict the events that they're concerned with?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd offer this in as State's Exhibit 3.
Yes.
Numbers, I guess it's 1 through 27. I've seen these guys, I don't really object.
Okay. And I understand that Exhibit 3 is a composite exhibit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Admitted.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
And may I be seated to scroll through these and question the witness? Thank you. Now, Sergeant Stewart, mainly these images depict different people and when they arrived, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's just go through these in order. This first slide has 9:54 and 28 seconds in the top right corner, and we can see the defendant walking down the driveway towards you, correct?
Yes, sir.
So this is your initial arrival.
Yes, sir.
This next slide is shortly thereafter when she begins talking to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, in this next slide, slide 3, who is the gentleman on the far left? And you can look up on the screen, I think. Might be easier for you.
You said it far left?
far left of this image?
That's Corporal Jefferson,
Okay.
the officer.
Moving on to the next slide, who is that immediately to the right of Jepson that we see there with his hands on his body armor?
That looks like Officer Gormley.
Okay, so that would be Gormley.
Yes, sir.
And then to the right of Gormley, who is that with the notepad in his hand talking to the defendant?
Officer Voss.
Officer Voss. Okay. So these pictures that we've looked at, these all depict the people who were there initially, correct?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to slide 5. This is what time?
9:58:33.
So this is within just a few minutes of your arrival.
Yes, sir.
And who is the gentleman with no shirt there in the middle?
I think that's our brother.
Okay. And then the woman to the right in the image standing alongside the white vehicle, would that be the babysitter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's difficult to make out in this picture, but is her daughter standing right on the other side of her?
Yes, sir.
Now, what time is this next slide?
10:08:58.
All right, so how long after your initial response would this be?
14 minutes.
Okay. And who's that in the middle? Is that Officer Voss still?
Facing away from me is Officer Voss.
Okay. And who is that looking towards you?
That is Officer Carson.
Carlson?
Yes, sir.
Now, had she arrived since the initial response?
Yes.
And what was her role there?
She was tasked to do a search.
Okay, so is she one of the
We'll get to that
officers
picture in a little bit.
tasked to look
That's
elsewhere?
Danny, the
That's correct.
boyfriend, but sorry
Now,
about that. I'll show
who
y'all
is
again in
this
a moment.
gentleman?
Lieutenant Foster.
Baby,
Does this
everybody
slide
showed up on the
depict
scene.
The approximate time of his arrival on scene,
Yes, sir.
and that is 11 minutes after 10?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes,
about
that's
15
Danny.
minutes or so into your response.
Yes, sir.
I'm
And
going to
this
show it
next
again.
slide, is that Corporal Jepson on the left there?
Yes, sir.
Not the far left, but the person that we see right there.
Corporal Jefferson.
And who's that in the middle?
Officer Zerke.
Zerke?
Yes, sir.
And where did she come from?
From B8,
And what
Georgetown
was-
area.
Say again?
B8, Georgetown area.
And what was her role once she arrived at the scene?
She was tasked to search the area.
The next slide, we're at 16 minutes after 10. Who is this here?
I don't know why they're doing this roll call of all the officers, but okay.
It looks like Officer Naranjo.
Naranjo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where did he come from?
He came from, I think, B9
Okay. And what was his role?
to search the area.
But it was a lot of wooded areas, so
Now, on
makes
this
sense.
next slide on the far left, is that Lieutenant Foster?
Yes, sir.
And who are those other two police officers?
That is Corporal Eam, the one facing me.
Thank y'all for joining. Please hit the
That
like.
is his trainee.
Okay. And what was his name?
I think it's Laurel Stewart, I think.
Okay. And did they show up to search as well?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to the next slide, this is at 10:22, correct?
Yes, sir.
Damn,
this
they came
would
out in
be
full
just
force
under
very quickly.
Half an hour into your response.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who is this that we're looking at here?
It is Latoya Brown. Miss
Say
Brown.
again?
Miss Brown.
Okay. Latoya Brown?
Yes,
did you
sir.
say? Okay. And what is her role with the Chatham County Police Department?
She's a CRO.
What is a CRO?
She goes around and takes non-emergency calls.
She goes around
Makes reports. When people want to report this, whereas it doesn't require a police officer to go out and take like a theft or something like that. She goes out and take the.
Community Resource Officer, CRO.
Okay.
Okay.
And what was her role?
He didn't know what
at the
CRO
scene?
stand for.
She was requested there to come in to keep up with the notes, be a scribe.
Okay. A scribe?
Yes, sir.
What is
That's
this?
what was told to me.
Welcome to the Little Lane Jury Box, J Dub.
She was just there to take notes.
Okay. Notes on what?
What was going on? Who came in? What was said?
Okay. Now, the next slide, we're at 10:44, right?
Yes, sir.
So that would be about 50 minutes after you've gotten there yourself, right?
Yes, sir.
And is that Lieutenant Foster in the middle?
It is.
Who is that in the dark colored jacket there standing next to him?
I think that's one of the detectives.
Do you know which one that is?
No, sir.
You don't know off the top of your head?
Not on my head. No.
What is happening between the two of them?
I think
Very Carey. He said he was just trying to get to retirement. He don't know why he got this call first.
Explaining what about it? Just
Telling them
what
what-
information y'all have to this
What?
point?
Yeah, so what information he has? I briefed him when he got there, what I had found out,
You briefed who?
the lieutenant.
Okay.
And then that's probably what the lieutenant is briefing him about what we found out.
Okay. So you would brief Lieutenant Foster when he shows up, and then Lieutenant Foster briefs the detectives?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the next slide, who is that in the tan pants and blue shirt
think
arriving
that's-
at the scene?
A detective. I think that's detective. I think it's Noble. I think that's his name, Noble.
Okay, so that's Noble. In the next slide, who is this?
Lieutenant Thompson.
In the next slide, whose face are we looking at here?
Assistant Chief Shoot.
No, I don't think she's trying to say that
Who is this
NYW.
next slide?
She couldn't have said it because guess what? They showed up. You know, she didn't call the police for 3 hours after the time she reported. I mean, said she first saw him missing.
Information on
When she called them, look how many people came out within an hour.
To cover the event.
All these people they naming right now, they all then showed up within
Was there
30
news-
minutes
were
of
there
the
news
first
media present at
this
this
witness
Not
hitting
that
the scene.
I hadn't seen it.
Did they ever show up to this scene that day?
They did.
There's nowhere in the world they can't say that the people didn't show
He
up.
would be the one dealing with the media, yes, sir.
Now, in this next slide, the time is 11:51, correct?
Yes, sir.
So this would be almost 2 hours into the police response to this scene.
Yeah, see, 2 hours and the whole city and outlines Lion
Now,
City
who is
showed
that
up.
gentleman that we see there?
It's a Marine Patrol officer.
Say Marine Patrol Officer?
Yes, sir.
What do they do?
They route the waterways around Chatham County.
Okay. Is he with the Chatham County Police Department or some other agency?
Yes, sir. He's with the police department.
Okay, Chatham County PD,
Yes, sir.
specifically the Marine Patrol.
Yes, sir.
And why was he there?
He came out, like I said earlier, when we have a missing child, all resources in the department, if they can spare them, they send them.
In the next slide, who are we seeing here with the sport coat and striped shirt on?
Lieutenant Cheney, I'm sorry.
Okay. And what unit was he with at the time?
The detectives.
Okay. So he was a lieutenant with the detectives?
Yes, sir.
In this next slide, it's noon now, right? 12 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're a little more than 2 hours in.
Yes, sir.
And who is that walking across the yard there?
That looks like Sergeant Coleman.
And what unit is Sergeant Coleman with?
Forensics.
Okay. So by this time, forensics is on the scene?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. You know
In the
what?
next
Let me see.
slide,
Let me pause.
12:05, who is this?
Now, with this case, unlike the Quentin Nixon case, I found myself, I ain't gonna even lie, I found myself watching a little bit more. I haven't watched every bit of it. No, I haven't done that. But like with the Quentin Nixon, I had more discipline about not watching the trial. I wanted to watch it and react and see it with you guys. This trial had a little bit more of my, I found myself not being able to just not watch as much, right? So I ain't gonna even front. I did watch some pieces I've watched, right? So not to get ahead of it, but I didn't understand why they was being like, why was they doing all this naming people and all that type of different stuff. I didn't get it, right? However, you know, this is going to be important, I do believe, for the cross-examination and how the defense team come across, okay? So keep that in mind. All this naming the people and all that, I think it's important because of what the defense tries to do. And that's all I'm going to say. I didn't get it when I was first watching. I was like, why are they doing this roll call of everybody? But it's going to come in play, and we're going to talk about it when the defense does the cross-examination. And we're going to see it on this, and it's sitting here. Okay, let's continue. Now, I also didn't understand why the heck they were showing all these pictures and not just showing the. I'm gonna watch the Sarah Boone trial tonight after this. I didn't understand why they wasn't just showing the footage, you know. But let's go.
That you're interacting with.
Assistant Chief Talbert.
Let me pin that comment so I can remember when it comes up. Let me pin that.
And in the next slide,
Let me pin.
do you see a number of police officers in the blue shirt of the Chatham County Police Department?
Yes, sir.
Boom. We're gonna come back to that
Who are
comment,
these other
NYW.
people in the olive drab and tan uniforms?
I think those are the people dealing with the K9, the search dogs.
Okay. And does this depict their arrival at the scene?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll move past this slide and move to the next one. What are we seeing in this slide here?
You see detectives and forensics officers talking to each other.
Okay. And they're in the driveway of the house next door, correct?
Yes, sir.
Talking over the investigation?
That's correct.
Now, the gentleman in the foreground of this photo closest to us, is that Lieutenant Cheney of the Criminal Investigations Division who you talked about earlier? I'm talking about closest to us.
Here in the Great City.
Hi, Uppity. Hey, Tamika. So let me say this, because they just doing this roll call right now. So let me say this. So one thing in the last trial we was watching, the State of Ohio versus Quentin Nixon. One thing that we talked about, right? And we kind of talked about it. We discussed it quite a bit, right? About the forensics with the evidence, why they didn't do this, why they didn't do that. And I was one of the loudest voices. I thought that the detectives, I didn't understand why they didn't see it. If you see a knife in the house, this is just an example. If you see a knife in the house, just because it's a shooting, why not take a picture? Why not test the knife anyway? You don't know what happened in that house. And I didn't understand that, right? And I was just questioning it, and I was saying in that particular case, as an example, that it seemed like poor detective work, poor police work. And I can remember so clearly that Winter, my moderator, POP, hold me down, Winter kept trying to explain to me that it's more to it than that, and it doesn't just work that way. And I didn't have any understanding of that, right? And then I can't think of which trial it was, but it was a different trial that I was just watching on my own, and I actually heard a judge or a lawyer more so explain about how that when they collecting the evidence, that they really they have to determine right then what's going to be important to the case, what's relative to the case, and that even though it's a lot there, they don't just take everything. I think it was on the Sarah Boone trial they were saying about why they just took did they test something in the kid's room, and the officer said no because we took a picture of the room in the house, but we didn't go in because it wasn't a part of the crime scene. So I think that's when I heard them explaining it, and I was like, dang, that's what Winter was trying to tell me about how they make the decisions of what's important to the case, what evidence to collect, what evidence to test. Now, I would think because they have to make that type of decision, right, a personal decision, that sometimes you may miss some important evidence because you didn't think it was important, or you didn't know the significance it would have later, right? So Winter says larger jurisdiction, resources, and departments have different processes depending on the case. Right. And it's not like they can just go in and just collect everything, test everything, right? So I didn't get it that much. I didn't get it then, Winter, but I meant to tell you that I when they explained it, when I saw it somewhere else, I had a better understanding. So now I kind of get it a little bit more. So let's continue with this roll call, child. Everybody and their mama showed up, which Hey, if my kids were missing, my grandkids were missing, I want everybody, everybody, all hands on deck.
That's Lieutenant Cheney.
So,
that's
hey,
Lieutenant
I ain't mad at it.
And who is that in the gray suit in the middle?
But everybody came.
Chief of Police for the Chatham County Police
Yes, sir.
Department. Who is that in the green shirt?
That is Captain Wright with the detectives unit.
Now, is it normal for multiple lieutenants, captain, in two assistant chiefs and the chief of police himself to show up to a call?
They show up on calls, how would you say, high-profile calls like murders, stuff like that, missing children and stuff like that. When we do a lot of searching and calling in a lot of resources, they come out to.
Okay. So they come when it's important.
Yes, sir.
Now, this next slide, what time are we at now here?
12:31.
And who is that we see in this slide?
I think it's Detective Lemons.
All right. And what is happening at this time?
This is the front door of the house. The door that they said that was open.
And what's going on?
I'm explaining to her from where I am what they told me and that showing her the area, the room.
She's taking a look in the room.
Yes, sir.
And then finally, in the last slide here, what time are we at here?
12:43.
All right, so this would be almost 3 hours after your original arrival.
Yes, sir.
You got there at 9:54, 12:43, almost 3 hours.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what are we seeing here? What is happening here?
That is Lieutenant Foster, Detective Lemon, Captain Wright, and that is Captain Fandrich. Let me see what other person.
And that's Detective Lemons on the far right.
Yes, sir.
And what is she doing?
I guess they all briefing about the case. They're talking to each other about the case.
Okay, talking about the plan to take
Yes, sir.
everybody to headquarters and conduct formal interviews.
I think that's what they was doing.
Okay. Let me ask you a little bit about the defendant's demeanor. Okay, I want to go back to when you first got there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you responded to missing children calls before?
Yes, sir.
About how many do you think you've responded to, if you had to estimate?
You want a number? I can't tell you the number. It's been quite a few, sir. Quite a few.
Yes, he say how many. Come on, Officer Stewart, Sergeant Stewart.
And have you had the opportunity to observe the demeanor of parents calling in that their child is missing and reaching out to the police for help?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is good.
What is it normally like?
Most of the time when we get to a residence where a child is missing, mother's upset. She's hysterical. She's crying. She's telling us, "What are you standing here for? Talking to me? You should be out looking for my child. You're wasting time." And just, they're so hysterical. A lot of times you can't talk to them.
Was the defendant like that in this case?
No, sir.
Did you view her demeanor as consistent with that of other parents that you've spoken to in missing children cases?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. Let me go back to the first slide. I guess it's actually the second slide. Do you see this here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, does it look to you like the defendant is crying?
Looked like she's trying to cry.
Is that what it looked like to you that day at the time that she was trying to cry?
Now it look like she trying to cry.
Did it appear
Child.
to you that she was actually crying, or no?
I mean, there was some, you could see there was some water on her face, but it wasn't like I told you. She wasn't hysterical. She wasn't crying, just crying out. When you saw big tears coming out now.
Okay. One moment, please.
She ain't crying now, and this day one. This day one. I think I'll be having a fit just sitting there with the whole everything, the weight of everything that was happening. I'll be having a nervous breakdown in court.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-oh. Here go the cross-examination.
Sergeant Stewart, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, Sergeant Stewart, you were one of the first ones to respond on the scene that day, correct?
Yes, sir, one of them.
All right. And I'm curious, you said you have 35 years worth of experience in law enforcement, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, in your 35 years of experience in law enforcement and you arrive on the scene of a crime, what's one of the first things you've been trained to do?
Go up and make contact with the complainant.
Okay. And then what next?
Talk to him, find out what's going on.
Okay. And then what next?
If I need to call in other resources, I do.
Okay. Now, in a case like this where there may have been an abduction that took place or transpired, especially from inside the home, would you secure the scene?
Yes, sir. That's what we had other officers to do that.
Well, we'll get back to that in a minute. So you had officers do that? Which officers were doing that exactly?
Let me see who I had out there. I had quite a few officers out there that day, sir. I know I had Jefferson was there after they had searched the house. He came down. And Gormley, he came down.
Okay.
And for you talking about securing the scene, the house?
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
isn't it normal routine that you secure the scene where there may be some forensic evidence for you to seize or look at?
That's correct.
Okay. And wouldn't securing that scene mean you
Here we
prevent
go,
people from
NYW.
going in or out?
That's correct.
Okay. Wouldn't it also mean that when you send techs in to go ahead and secure or look or search or do something like that, they would actually be wearing gloves or have some sort of bodysuit on so they would not contaminate the scene?
Yes, sir. You talking about the officers that went in and searched
Talking
the house?
about all of the officers that were out there. It seemed like you had an ungodly amount of people out there that day.
That's
Child.
correct.
Okay. You have still have State's Exhibit in front of you?
Which one?
State's Exhibit 3?
This one?
Can I approach this?
Oh, this one. Okay, I got it.
It's the big exhibit with 27 pictures. Okay. You got 27 pictures here in front of you that Mr. Dean just meticulously went over with, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's start with number one. Number one was the first one, 954, right? This was literally as you drove up on the scene, wasn't
Yes,
it?
sir.
Okay. Was your body camera operating at that point in time?
It was.
Okay. And this is a still of that, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, wouldn't the best evidence of that interaction, rather than your conclusion, be the actual video of that?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. So you arrive on the scene at 9:54 that morning, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have an interaction.
Oh, 954. Let me write that
At
down.
this particular photograph, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, rather than your conclusion being what they put in front of this jury, wouldn't the actual video from that body-worn camera be a better indicator of what actually transpired?
Of what I saw?
Right. But that's not what Mr. Dean offered, was it? He offered your conclusion, correct?
He asked me what I thought.
Right. So let's go to the next one. Picture number 2. Same thing. Rather than the actual evidence, he offered your conclusion, correct?
Objection, argument,
Sustain.
Let's talk about number 2. That's actually part of the video as well, is it not, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did Mr. Dean offer your actual video of that interaction? No, he didn't, did he?
objection, I would ask that the witness be allowed to testify.
Well, he has to actually testify, Judge. I asked a question and it hung out there. He looked confused, so I'll withdraw it and rephrase it.
Okay, thank you.
Sergeant Stewart, these are stills lifted from your body-worn camera from that day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've reviewed the body-worn camera, right?
Yes, sir.
It's good video footage, right?
That's correct.
That's the best evidence of what actually transpired that day, was it not?
Yes, sir.
Objection, argument.
I don't think it's argumentative.
And you do have him on cross-examination. However, I think the point is you are asking the sergeant questions about technically best evidence.
I'll rephrase it, Judge. What actually transpired was recorded on your video, correct, Sergeant?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Dean asked you to state your conclusion about that, correct?
He asked me did I think about this and think I think.
Right. So.
Baby, you would think that Officer Stewart did something wrong.
Now, let's move on. Look at picture 4. These 3 particular
2022,
officers,
October
is that
2022.
there to search.
October 5th to be exact.
Yes, sir, they were.
Did they search?
They searched the house.
They went in the house, and I'm just curious, was that before or after this picture?
After.
Okay. Did they don any particular gloves or clothing or anything to protect the scene, or did they just go in and search?
I couldn't tell you, sir, because I was standing here. I was not around the back door. They went in the house.
Well, but you know what you saw. Did you see them do that?
Here, no. When they went out of my sight, I don't know what they did.
Okay, well, let's parse this out a little bit then. Did you see them go to, say, I don't know, the back of their car and pull out some gloves?
Most officers.
Baby, this attorney is an
Did you see them
ass.
carrying gloves?
I can't tell you what was in their pocket.
Okay. Well, all right. Did you see them put on any gloves?
I did not.
Did you see them come out and pull any gloves off?
I did not.
Okay. So you didn't see them grab any, didn't see them put any on, didn't see them pull any off, but you can't state conclusively that they didn't put any on.
I cannot tell you that.
Okay. Let's look at number 5. These particular 2 officers here, did you see them do that?
Mr. Hilliard, you're going through each exhibit from State's Exhibit 3. Do you mean for the photo to correspond on the screen?
Judge, I assume because they've already been tendered, the jury's going to have these.
They're gonna have them.
So I really don't care whether they see it right now or not. But so Sergeant Stewart,
Yes, sir.
these particular 2 officers, which 2 officers are these again?
Officer Voss and Corporal Jepson.
Same question to them. Did you watch them search?
Officer Voss, no. He stood there and talked to the complainant.
And how about the other officer?
Corporal Jepson? No, sir. I did not see him search inside the house.
So neither one of them went inside the house.
Corporal Jepson did.
Did he put on gloves when he went in?
I can't tell you that, sir.
And let's go to picture 7. This is, I think it's one of the lieutenants, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, I know that this defense attorney is coming out just coming all guns ablaze, right? But, and it looks kind of like, God dang, he just going in on this cop. But if I was the defendant, God forbid, right? If I was the defendant, this is the type of attorney I would want. I would want the type of attorney that come out all guns ablaze. I would want an attorney that doing just what he doing. He coming out the gate saying he trying to make the investigation look uncredible. Y'all know we learned that word, okay? Last trial. I would try to make it look like they did shoddy work. I would try to make it look like they was unprofessional. That's what he's doing here. You know, talking about the gloves, talking about if they didn't have gloves. Wasn't it a whole lot of people? It was an ungodly amount of people. You know, if you're a defendant, this the type of defense attorney I want. I wouldn't want one that was all calm and laid back and all friendly with everybody. But at the same time, as being as a witness under this type of question, it's like, God damn, what did I do? All I did was do my job. But hey, it is what it is. This woman fighting for her life, you know, her freedom. How much time she gonna get? If she gonna get time. Let's continue. Thank y'all for joining. Watch with Demetra, the state of Georgia versus Leilani Simon. This is the first witness, Patrol Sergeant Stewart. Cross-examination.
Lieutenant Foster?
Right, they still is. They thinking he alive right
No,
now.
sir.
He stayed outside the whole time.
Yes, that's far.
Oh, that's a good point. At this time, it was an act of search, not a crime scene. Good point, Winter. Good point. Thank you.
Officer Zerke,
Zerke. Did Zerke help on the search?
outside of the house.
She searched outside.
Yes, sir.
All right. And let's go look at picture number 9. That officer, which officer was that?
Officer Norano.
Okay. And same question for him. Did he help in the search?
He was outside.
Outside?
Yes, sir.
And when you say outside, we're talking about out in the pool area, the RV, all of that area, correct?
Outside of the house.
Okay. Not inside the house.
No, sir. I never saw him inside the house. Never told him to go in there.
Now, and I'm curious, you said it's Miss Brown. She's a CRO, correct?
Yes, sir.
She arrived at 10:22, which is about 30 minutes after you arrived, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
A little bit more than 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Yeah, right at about 30 minutes. Yes, sir.
35, 40 minutes. Doesn't really matter. Does she normally come out and start taking notes for people?
No, she was requested to come out.
Who requested her? Just out of curiosity.
My lieutenant.
A lieutenant requested the note taker. Okay. Now, so then the next picture is picture 12.
Damn
As
job.
detective
Always
in it,
suspecting you to
detective
work. I am
search.
Renee. Who they think they is?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And picture 13, it looks like it's another detective, Noble, if I'm not mistaken. But is that Detective Noble?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he help search?
Don't know, sir.
Okay. What did he do?
Welcome to the chat, Saint City.
As far as I know, when he walked up, they was all talking, doing their detective stuff.
Now, and picture 14, I know I should know this officer. Which officer is that?
Thompson.
Thompson. Then what was his duty?
He just came out to assist the lieutenant.
If you had to guess that day, how many people were out there from the time you got there at 9:45 or so till 12:45?
Quite a few people, sir.
A large number of people.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, did you say it's an unusually large number of people?
No.
Okay. You said you've been doing this for 35 years.
I ain't gonna lie, Sergeant Stewart is
16.
a bit vague, even for my taste. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Who made the determination to call out the public information officer?
I can't tell you that, sir. I don't know. I didn't request her.
It wasn't you.
It wasn't me.
Okay. Is that something you would normally do?
No, sir.
Okay. And with regards to the rest of these pictures, over the course of the 3 hours you were there, is it safe to say that more and more and more and more people showed up?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And where did they focus their search at when they got there?
I don't know where they focus their search. I can tell you where I focus.
So
my
where did you
search.
focus your search?
My search was the wooded area behind the house, the roadway south of the residence, and the roadway north of the residence. All the houses around that area.
Okay. Now, what time did the media show up?
Don't know, sir. I didn't see the media.
How long were you there that day?
I was there for quite a while.
It's safe to say 6, 8, 9 hours easily.
At that house, I know it was more than 3 hours.
So you were at the house more than 3 hours.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You didn't call the media, did you?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. And that would not be something you would normally do either, would it?
No, sir.
Now, who was it that called the canine search dogs?
That was something that Lieutenant did.
All right.
Lieutenant Foster.
How many, and I'm just curious, Mr. Dean, how many missing child calls have you ever responded to?
Quite a few, sir. Over the time I've been.
10? 20?
He is so vague,
I
it
think
kills
it's been
me.
more than 10.
More than 10?
Yes, sir, it's been more than 10.
Less than 20?
I would say, yeah, I would think it's been.
That irks me.
Because
Been
I've
more
been
than
here.
20?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And have you had any specialized training in that area or no?
Searching for children? What area are you talking about?
I would say missing children's investigations.
Very close.
I have to pause it right here. This is the only thing about Sergeant Stewart that irks me, okay? I know he's a little older gentleman, and he a patrol officer, sergeant. You know, that's like on the beat. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he don't, I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for him. But he is being so vague when he answers these questions that is making him come across to me as almost incompetent. I'm not saying that he is incompetent, but the way he's carrying right now, and the way even with the state directly examining him, he was being so vague with the questions, right? And not just like, he not even stating the answers with any type of, what do I want to say, certainty. It's almost like, how somebody asks you a question and you answer back. You're supposed to be giving an answer, but your answer kind of trail off. like it's a question mark at the end of your answer. Do that make sense? Y'all know what I'm saying? I can't explain it, you know? Y'all think that? I think that too. Very good. NYW say, I thought that as well. It's irritating me. Very Carey say he needs to answer the questions properly. Come on, officer. Exactly. Tamika say, leave Sergeant Stewart alone. Tamika say, I would say the same time your ass showed up. I know. Tamika want us to leave Sergeant Stewart alone, right? Barry Carey say, this cop is just not in the mood. He doesn't want to be there. He's nervous, and he wasn't briefed on how to respond while being examined. But how would you think that's the case? I mean, really? You would think, you know, the state, they get a chance to prep their witnesses, right? And for me, for Demetra, think about when you got a big interview coming tomorrow. Think about when you got a meeting to do tomorrow. Think about when you got a test tomorrow, right? Don't you get prepared? This is like one of their biggest cases that they've had in a long time. This is a case that's going on in their city that they are part of, that's going to be that has been nationwide covered, that Court TV is covering, streaming live. Y'all been waiting and building this case for 2 years. I cannot for the life of me understand why, and I'm not just talking about Officer Stewart, but I don't understand why any of these officers, or you know, that's involved, why they don't read over their notes. Why don't they look over their reports? Why don't they refresh themselves on their files? Because I see this quite often, and I be like, I don't get it. Officer acting like he doesn't see the seriousness of this case. He forgot he was in court. Child, I would. Lady Steph say, you're right. He has no energy in his words, but this defense attorney is being very combative, and so he could just be trying not to match his energy. Plus, him testifying is probably second nature. Right, but it can't be so second nature that you just become flippant. Officer acting like, okay, I read that one. Open-ended answers, not sure. Exactly. Open-ended answers, not sure of anything. Almost like a question mark at the end of your answer, right? Exactly. Open-ended answers. Thank you, NYW. Seems like he's trying not to get pissed off. That may be true. He probably didn't sleep well the night before because of this case. Well, yeah, you know, it's a big thing. And he know everybody watching. Now, wait a minute. Winter about to go into her corner. Winter say, okay, let me go to my corner because I ain't going to be the only one yet. Only one on yet another case that understands and knows how it goes. You might have to be Winter. His memory is focused on the major details, but this nitpicking mess. So you don't see, hey, Tweety, welcome to the chat. And Renee say he's trying to remain calm and not get pissed off. Right. Okay, but what about... And I'm not trying to nitpick the man and just be like all over highly critical of him. But y'all got, it's some things even now, okay, all that can be true at one time under this cross-examination from this all guns ablaze defense attorney, right? Who nitpicking and all this type of stuff, right? I totally get that, right? But what about his same tone and open-ended answers with the state? You know, it's just kind of like, wow. Maybe Winter gonna be hollering about tomorrow by the second witness. I'm going in witness protection. No, you're not. Let's continue.
Classes on it.
Class on it?
Some classes, yes.
Some classes on it? Okay. And how long ago was that?
We haven't had anything recent. It's been a while.
10 years?
I think it's less than that.
5 years?
I've said
7
the
years?
last. I've said 5.
Talk about his training with missing kids.
Now, let's talk about when you originally got there. The people that were on scene when you got there was Daniel Youngkin, Paul Simon, Miss McCarta, and her daughter, correct? 4 adults.
Babysitter.
Excuse me?
The names you called last. Is that the babysitter?
The babysitter and her daughter.
Yes, sir.
So it's 4 adults that you saw when you got there.
Yes, I think it was 4.
Okay. And I have a question for you. What was the first question you asked when you got there?
I asked her what was going on, what was happening, what's going on.
Right. And what were you told?
She told me her child was missing.
Okay. And now you made a distinction here, so I'm going to ask a very specific question. Did you ask if she had an idea of who may have taken the child, or if she had an idea of any suspects?
Well, she kept saying somebody took my child. I said, do you have an idea who?
Right. So you asked that question, which is a normal question, right?
Yes, yes.
That's a normal question, right?
Yes, sir.
And she responded to that question, correct? So nothing unusual about that. That's
No.
a normal question you'd ask.
Yes, sir.
Did Mr. Youngkin say anything to you?
He was saying something.
Objection.
I'm not asking what he said. I'm just asking if you said something to him. That's all.
You may proceed.
Right.
He
So,
was saying something.
right. So Mr. Youngkin, you talked to him as well.
He was standing there when I was talking to the lady.
Right. So you were interacting with Mr. Youngkin, Ms. McCarter, her daughter, and Miss Simon all at the same time, and they were all standing right there in front of each other. Correct?
The babysitter was. I don't think she was there when I was talking to the lady.
So you
I don't
pulled them
think-
to the side.
No, it's just when I first walked in, I saw her boyfriend, and their little child.
Okay. So that picture, I guess, this right here is what you're describing, with the exception of you can't see the child, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So, and was it a few minutes later when it was the babysitter and the daughter and them as well? Correct.
That's correct. And also, Voss was talking to him. I wasn't talking to him again. I was standing back.
Okay.
Okay, so as a reminder, Danny Youngkin is the one in the orange safety vest. He had ran and left from work when
Did
she
you
called
know
him.
This case, Sergeant Stewart,
That's Danny, her boyfriend.
and
This is
I
Danny
went back
here.
and reviewed that
Let me see.
report, but that report pretty much contained everything.
Come to find out, Danny was an inspired rapper at one point.
Much.
That's all the questions I have for this witness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dean. Any follow-up?
Wait. That's Danny.
There you go.
All right, thank you. Sergeant.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
He ready to go. Look, he getting the paper together. That ain't funny. Let me stop.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Maybe Sergeant Stewart better get the hell up out of there. Uh-oh. Let me go back. All right. So, that was Sergeant Stewart. What did we learn from what did we learn? What was the important thing to really learn that we gathered from Sergeant Stewart? What was the most important parts of his testimony? To me, the most important part of it, the part that, not maybe the most important, but the testimony that really stood out to me was the fact that he arrived at 9:54, and that she say that baby had been missing, or she saw that when she woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, she saw when she woke up at 6 a.m. that Quentin was not in that bed and that the front door was open. And then we hear that the first officer on the scene was at 9:54. 3.5 hours. To me, that stand out really big time with this case, with this particular witness. Another thing that stood out to me was that the police absolutely showed up in full force. They was on it, and that they was looking. Kathy said another important thing was that she was not hysterical. Her demeanor. She wasn't hysterical. Her demeanor on that body cam footage, which they didn't really show the body cam footage with him, which was very strange, you know. See, that lawyer is trying to piss him off. Oh yeah, you know. But he kept it cool under, you know, that's when being laid back and calm under pressure is important. That's when not being reactive is important. I'm a reactive person, in case y'all didn't know that about me, right? And I just don't think I would have been able to do so well. And he did. And I heard also he said under all those questioning, Sergeant Stewart say I was responsible for the search outside. Ask me some questions about that. You know? So let's get to the second officer. Let me see. Winter said maybe it would help a little if you put in your memory bank that patrol officers' investigative portion is way, way different from the detectives. Way different. And see, that's what I was just saying when you was typing that if you would have asked him, that's what I was just saying. My last point was, he wasn't responsible for that part of the investigation. He wasn't responsible for forensics. He wasn't responsible for all of the deep questioning of the witnesses. He was a patrol officer. He go there, get there, ask the first couple of things, call it in, what he see, and that would get the detectives out there. So I'm not gonna give Sergeant Stewart too much. Part of my thing is, y'all know already, I have a real disdain for soft-spoken men. I know everybody not loud and just real, whatever the word is, but I like for people to say it with their chest. You know what I'm saying? I hate all that mumbling and that uncertainty. Be wrong and bold and be bold and wrong. Let's continue to the second witness.
Is there any reason the sergeant should not be excused?
Like I said, flipping trailers looking for my child. Hysterical, maybe later. Shock and grief after learning my child is alive. Right, but not just sitting there and sitting there smoking cigarettes. I think this next officer we're gonna see more body cam footage. Yes, he makes me uncomfortable. I like him to be a little bit more. But all people are not the same. Everybody don't have those strong personalities, right? Everybody don't project strongly and boldly and confidently.
Okay, the state will call its next witness.
Cody Jepson.
I do understand that, but it still irks my nerves. And that was not a detective. He was just the first responding officer. Everything is opposite with the woman. You say everything is opposite from what you said in NYW. Like, what would your response be?
You shall give the court and jury in the trial of this issue shall be the truth, the whole
Okay, I have this
truth,
officer's
so
name.
help you God.
Let me see.
All right, good
This
afternoon.
is Corporal Jepson.
Say that again?
I was turning to Mr. Dean.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Corporal Cody Jepson. Working with the Chatham County Police Department right now.
And how long have you been with the Chatham County Police Department?
About over
Okay,
6 years.
Sassy, thank you for coming, Miss Sassy Francis.
Your current assignment at the Chatham County PD?
Just basic routine patrol.
When
Oh,
did you
he
join
another
the-
patrol officer. I'm gonna keep that in mind, Winter.
Chatham or just in general?
Well, were you with any other police department before Chatham County?
I started with Savannah Chatham Metropolitan Police Department back in October of 2016.
And is that before the Savannah Chatham Metropolitan Police Department split into the Savannah Police Department? And the
Correct, it
Chatham
was
County
still
Police
at a merged department at the time.
Okay, so after the demerger, you went with Chatham County Police?
A few months after the merger, went over to Chatham County PD.
Did you serve in the military before joining the police force?
I did, sir.
And could you tell us your branch of service?
I was in the Army.
And what was your military occupational specialty?
Cavalry Scout, which is basic reconnaissance, 2 3-man mission teams, go out, seek, and inform.
And what years were you on active duty in the Army?
From 2003 to 2015.
Sometime not too long before you joined the police?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your current assignment, did you say? Did you say what watch you're on?
I'm on the routine patrol division on Alpha Watch on the west side Chatham.
Okay.
precinct.
Alpha Watch is the same thing as A Watch?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that essentially the day shift or something like that?
It's just the call sign in general. You have 4 watches, Alpha Bravo, Charlie Delta, and it's just signed to Alpha Watch.
Maybe it's like a laid back city. Savannah, Georgia, Southern.
5:30 to 1700
Maybe it's just laid
on
back.
Day shift, and then correction to 1800, and then 1730 to 06 on night shift.
And what I mean by laid back is maybe it's their accents or maybe the way they talk and carry. Maybe it comes across as laid back, right? That's something I need to keep in mind too. Where they're at, where they're located, what's the culture of the city, right? A Cab Scout, he is going to be very detailed, you think? Let's see if he get more detailed. After this witness here, we'll go ahead and end for the night, but we had an hour and 42 minutes. We might as well go ahead and get to the second witness. His testimony, I don't think it's that long. I want to try to keep these to a max of 2 hours, but let's go ahead and see.
What particular beat are you assigned to?
It's on numerical basis, and I'm in beat 7, which pretty much goes from Geechee Road near 516 all the way up to Berwick area, Lamarville, Southbridge, all the area right in between those 2 areas.
Does beat 7 include the Gerard Buckhalter neighborhood?
It does, sir.
Am I saying Gerard right? Is it Gerard or Gerard?
Everyone pronounces it differently. Gerard, Garriard. I've heard it 15 different ways.
Okay. I'd like to draw your attention to October 5 of 2022, specifically the morning of that day, okay?
Yes, sir.
Were you working in beat 7
Yes,
Alpha
sir.
Watch that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did you respond along with Sergeant Stewart, Officer Voss, and Officer Gormley to a missing child call at 535 Buckhalter Road?
Yes, sir.
Now, you guys didn't all arrive in the same vehicle, did you?
No, sir.
But did you all arrive at substantially the same time, like within a few seconds of each other?
Sergeant Stewart was on scene first, and then myself and Officer Voss arrived right around the same time, and then Officer Gormley came a short time after.
Now, were you present in the driveway for the defendant, Ms. Simon's initial statement to Sergeant Stewart about what was going on and why they had called the police?
I came in right around that time, yes, sir.
Okay. And did Sergeant Stewart task you out with looking in the house for the child?
Yes, sir, he did.
And did you do that?
I did.
Can you describe how that played out? What did you do?
After being tasked to just go look around the house, I went inside with permission from I believe the boyfriend at the time, or the brother, one of the two.
Up on the screen right now is States Exhibit 3.
NYW, you see my question?
Slide 2. Is that in the orange reflective vest there? The gentleman who gave you permission to search the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's Danny.
I was in the backyard or back patio area. Asked permission to go inside the house, which he granted, and then after that, went in, and then basically on the first entry, just went through the downstairs area.
Okay. And did you find the child in the downstairs area?
No, sir.
Did you ever go back in the house and look anywhere else?
Yes.
And can you tell us about that, please?
When we went back in the second time with Officer Gormley, we conducted a downstairs and upstairs search through all the bedrooms, closets, just the basic go around the house.
Now, when you were looking in the house on these 2 different occasions that you were talking about, what were you looking for?
Just for any signs of the child, diapers, anything that would kind of lead us to, or sounds to lead us to where a child may be.
First and foremost, you were looking for the child. Is that
Yes, sir.
right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, at some point, did the fellow on the screen here in the orange reflective vest give you a picture of the child?
Yes, sir, he did.
And why was that?
Just out of basic necessity, so we can give out to other officers, the PIO for the department, just a basic description of what the individual looks like, basic appearance.
And you mentioned the PIO. Is that the Public Information Officer?
Yes, sir.
And what would she do with a picture of a missing child?
I can't put it on social media for others to see.
See if anybody had seen it
Yeah.
around?
Yeah.
Okay. At some point, shortly after your initial arrival, did you approach the defendant and ask her for a clothing description, what the child had been wearing the last time that he had been seen?
Yes, sir.
And did she give one to you?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember
Hi,
what
Jason.
she said?
It was a Sesame Street pajama top, and then I believe like a blue gym style shorts.
Okay. And did you have a body worn camera on that day?
I did.
And did it record that interaction
Yes, sir.
and your other involvement at the scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you arrived initially, and she approached Sergeant Stewart and gave this initial kind of blast of information,
Yep.
she said something to the effect of the door having been open, right?
Yep. Yes,
Did
sir.
you go and look at the front door to see what it looked like?
I did.
And at some point after doing that, did you go ask for her, the defendant, for some clarification on what the exact state of the door was at the time that she woke up and saw it open?
Yes, sir, I did.
And why did you go ask her for that clarification?
Just further knowledge, see if it was, really basically if it was kicked in, broken in, how was it opened, if it was locked, unlocked.
Did you see any of that stuff on the door frame, any damage?
Uh-oh, it froze. Okay, that's because that was the end of that part. Hold on. Okay. All right. Hold on, y'all. I got y'all. Let me see. Okay, I'm loading up the next part right now. Let me see. It should be loading up. Right, she tried to say a little bit of everything. And I think what's important about this is that the officer just said, what's his name? Corporal Jefferson, he just said he wanted to check about the door, and the lawyer just say, well, was it kicked in or something? And it wasn't none of that. And remember, she tried to say it was the baby daddy possibly came up in there. How would he get in?
Mr. Dean.
Say that again?
I was turning to Mr. Dean.
Sorry.
I didn't even see the brow lift.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Okay,
First
sorry,
and
I
foremost,
went
you were
back.
looking for the child.
Okay, hold on.
Believe.
I started the recording from when he started, so I wouldn't miss nothing. So let's get right here.
Just fairly and accurately depict the events.
Current's behind the property in the wood line there going to.
Indication on what the exact state of the door was
Okay.
at the time.
This where we
that
was.
she
Oh,
woke
y'all don't
up
see
and
it.
saw it.
Okay.
Yes,
hold
sir,
on.
I did.
And why did you go ask her for that clarification?
Okay, there we go.
Just further knowledge, see if it was,
That brow lift right there?
basically if it was kicked in.
That
broken
one?
in, how was it opened, if it was locked, unlocked.
Did you see any of that stuff on the door frame, any damage or anything like that?
I did not, sir.
Okay.
Everything appeared as a door should be.
And other than those interactions with the defendant and searching through
She
the
looks
house,
sleepy.
what was the remainder of your involvement at the scene? What did it consist of?
Dang, she like she about to fall asleep, huh?
So after the basic 15-20 minutes there, did the two searches of the house, I was tasked to walk on the, to pretty much search around the wooded area, I believe, can't remember the cardinal direction, pretty much behind the property in the wood line there going towards Veterans Parkway.
Did you find anything back then?
No, sir, no signs of any disturbance or evidence.
And were you eventually
She
released
needs
by
some.
Sergeant Stewart or Lieutenant Foster to resume your normal patrol duties?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'd like to approach with what I marked as State's Exhibit 4 now, please.
I've seen it, Judge.
Okay, so, are you seeking to admit that?
Well, I need to lay it
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so we're gonna see some body cam footage again.
I've just handed you a disc marked as State's Exhibit 4. Does that disc contain your body-worn camera footage from that day?
Yes, sir.
Thank God for body cam now.
Reviewed the footage and then signed, initial, and dated.
And does the footage on that disc fairly and accurately depict the events that you were involved in at the scene that day? Does it appear to have been altered or modified?
Exactly, Lady Steph. Something apparently just boring
Your
her.
Honor, I would offer this as State's Exhibit 4.
Objection, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
So y'all thought she looked like she was going to sleep too, huh? And she look a little bit more alert right here. And they didn't mention anything about her being medicated. A lot of time they mention that. That's a sweet vampy new word she learned to spell over here on this lane, bish.
I'm going to publish just a couple of brief excerpts, Your Honor.
Okay, let me make this a little bit bigger for the
Will be
footage.
on the timestamp in the top right corner of the file.
Make it a little bit bigger so we can see it good.
09:58 and 2 seconds.
Okay,
And I will
there's
note
this.
for the
Let me make
record
it
when I
bigger.
stop the playback, this will be about 20 seconds.
Let's see.
What was your son last wearing?
He was wearing Sesame Street, like the jumper skirt, and wearing black shorts, and like gym shorts.
All right. So I think I asked you earlier about the clothing description, and I recall you saying blue shorts. Having watched that, do you want to revise that answer?
Yeah, it was the red or black shorts.
Red.
I mean, I'm down with colors just in general, but yeah, it was gym style shorts.
Okay. The next bit that I will publish is
Lady, yeah, she seemed high to me. You know that arms, the way she moved. Lady T say child boo, but remember that night before, all that night, early morning, she come to find out. We heard in the opening statements about that Percocet and that cocaine. Let me be quiet.
53.
Now, how open was the door? Just about a foot.
Open enough that I see that open my eyes, I can see it outside the house.
And I've stopped the playback at 10:03:14 per the timestamp. One moment, please, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hilliard.
Officer Jefferson, how long were you on scene that day?
I don't know an actual full-time amount.
Just best guess.
I don't believe no more than an hour.
So you just out there for an hour?
give or take.
Okay. And again, but while you were there for that hour, you conducted 2 searches of the houses and at least 1 search of the wood line, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you said you searched in the house, did you go through the entire house?
Me and Gormley kind of
Here we
split
go.
it up. So I personally didn't go through the entire, every inch of the house. But he took a little bit, I took a little bit.
All right, what was the part you took then?
A little bit of the downstairs. I mean, it was a maze to begin with. Some of the downstairs, and what the downstairs, I'm not really too sure. And then a few bedrooms on the upstairs and closets.
All right, well, let's talk about the downstairs. The front door that you walk in is I guess that's the one that's facing Buckhalter Road,
Yes, sir.
okay? And when you walk in, you immediately see the couch, the TV screen, and all that area, correct?
If you're walking in, you have the crib right next to the door. Then to the left, the couch, and the TV on the other side. Yes, sir.
All right. And if you walk further back into the house, does it go back around to another part of the house?
Yes, sir.
And does it come around to the back side of the house?
Eventually.
And how's that? Well, how's that laid out? Is it a maze or?
Yeah, it was a complete maze on the inside. I know they're doing construction, so there was walls everywhere that kind of made you go left when you need to go right, kind of thing.
But let me ask you this. But I'm going to assume it's a normal house, right?
Yeah.
And it has windows. And
Yes, sir.
the front door is not the only door, is it?
No, sir.
And was there another door?
The back door.
And where does that back door go to?
To the pool back patio area.
Okay. And was that back door unlocked or open?
It was the door. It was open. It was unlocked. Yes, sir.
Okay. And whenever you went and, I guess, worked your way through the downstairs, did you notice anything of any importance?
At the time, no, sir.
Any contraband?
No, sir.
Any weapons?
No, sir.
Okay, any, I guess, biological material?
I didn't see any, sir.
Okay. So, and you went through and searched the house twice, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you go upstairs and search as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I assume you went outside and searched the outside areas as well, correct?
Yes, sir. And the wood line.
And were you the only one searching, or were there other people searching too?
There's a few of us. Are you talking about inside or outside?
Both.
Yeah, I know me and Gormley did the inside. I can't say if anyone else came in looking after us. And then on the back, there's several officers looking through the wood line.
Okay. And again, I know you're only there for a short time, but I'm just talking about what you saw.
But Diamond, they haven't asked about the trash because the trash at the house was still there. The trash at the house was still there. I don't know if I said this. She actually, where they said that she dumped the body in the dumpster, it wasn't at the house. She got in the car and drove, a bit down to the dumpster in front of a nearby trailer park, the Azalea mobile home trailer park. And the trash cans at the house, they was there. And I think one of these witnesses gonna get to it. Not tonight, but I think maybe the next one. But maybe him. Let's continue. But the trash at the house was there. And this came from the opening statement. She got in the car in that Dodge or whatever she got, and she drove off, and that's how they got the videotape of her dumping something in the dumpster in front of a trailer park. The trash cans at the house, they was there, present, accounted for, regular. Yeah, that was in the opening statement when we found that out. Let's continue. But very good point. And don't forget the good point Winter made. At this time, they looking for the missing baby, right? So they went and looked in the woods. They looked in that RV that's parked under the carport. They looked around the house. They looked down the street. They looked at the neighbors. They looking for this missing child. At this moment, they're not treating it like a possibly injured, hurt, or I don't know, a dead child. Oh, I hate to say it like that.
There were a number of officers searching both inside and outside, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's safe to say that over that period of time, as time wore on, more people came, or
Yeah, more people, officers came in.
so the numbers of people walking around doing the searching and in and out of the scene increased over the time you were there, not decreased?
Correct.
And if you remember, and if you don't, that's fine too. Have the forensic tech showed up yet, or no?
No, sir.
Okay, so these are all officers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but not forensic technicians or people who are trained to collect evidence?
No, sir.
That's all the questions I got. Thank you, Officer Jepson.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dean, any redirect?
One moment, please, Your Honor.
Thank you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Any reason why this witness cannot be excused?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're excused.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
This is right.
Oh my God, I'm just talking. Thank you, Lady T. I was just talking my butt off, okay? So we're going to end with that second witness for the night. And so what I was saying while I was on mute was, I think that y'all telling me that the 18-minute between the commercials, every 18 minutes is reasonable for the commercials. I think that's what Living is saying yes to, and NYW is saying yes to. And then I was saying, I was talking about, but y'all couldn't hear me, about NYW's question. NYW says, so the defense is saying they should have suspected Erda from the jump. And that's a question. And so I was putting that same question to you guys. What do we think? What's y'all thoughts on what direction y'all think from these first two witnesses that the defense is going in? What direction y'all think they trying to go in, right? Because I don't think they trying to suggest that, or do y'all, when you say, are they trying to suggest Erda and it's the defense and she pleading not guilty, are they trying to suggest somebody else could have did it, not the defendant, and because of shoddy police work, they not looking for the right person? Do y'all think that's where their defense is going? You know? I didn't even think about the fact, I thought that it's obvious they trying to make it look like the police was doing shoddy or not a great job at the scene, right? I think it's obvious that the defense is trying to do that, but it's real interesting now that NYW asked that question. I wonder if that's what they're going to try to allude, that somebody else did it. And that the police messed up not looking for another person. I don't know. I have to wait and see myself. Lady Stuff said, I wonder what type of conversation the trash men had when they figured out that there was actually a child in the trash. I would need therapy. They probably did have to have therapy. That whole community reacted, and this really, the whole community was in an uproar after this. You know, and to come to find out, remember last night during the opening statements, if you guys hadn't checked that out, it's on the playlist. They had over 400, I want to say almost 500 people searching that landfill day in and day out for over 32 days. Every day in that heat, going through that over 1,000 pounds of trash looking for this baby body. and they was all volunteers. They did all that, not paid. Okay, why do commercials at all? I wouldn't, because it would push some people away, because YouTube does it too much anyways on videos. Well, yeah, I have to go ahead and put the commercials in, because that's the revenue I get. You know, I get support over here, but between the commercials and my members, that's really my source of revenue. You know, every hour instead of every 18. That's a long time, no. But what about on TV? On TV, I think they do commercials like every 10 minutes. But that's a thought. That's why I wanted to see, was it too evasive? I'm going to go back and look at the replay. They even say, bless those searches. I know it stank. It stank. They had to have biohazard clothes on. They had, what they call it, the hazmat gear and all of that, you know. Let's see. So it's very interesting. I don't understand for the life of me how these two cops that we seen both had body cams on, and they didn't really show much of the body cam footage from either one of them. You know, they showed more pictures and everything else. Oh, mistrial. A mistrial with prejudice. And I think you said mistrial a little bit earlier. Let me look for NYW. Let me see. Mistrial. A mistrial with prejudice because of the fact that are you saying that because, okay, are you saying mistrial 18 minutes is fine? Okay. Are y'all saying maybe they pressing for a mistrial because they saying that they didn't do the investigation right? So it's interesting, you know. Now from this point, I watched all of Sergeant Stewart's testimony, right? So I kind of knew what to expect from him. Tomorrow we're going to watch the next three witnesses, and then it's going to finish up the day one of the trial. The next three witnesses, just so you guys can know, is going to be Sean Wilkins, a Kiana Robbins, and a Eugene Foster. They're all law enforcement. Okay? And after that, then we're going to get into the lead detectives. Okay? So, 18 is perfect? Okay. So I just found that option in my studio. You know, I've been working with the monetization thing, not the commercials, and so I just recently found where I can actually set it by the minutes, right? So that's a new part that I found, and in the options, I said 18, and I knew I was going to ask you guys about it. So thank y'all for that feedback. Yes, Tamika, I'm going to be coming to do part 3 tomorrow evening. I plan on coming in the evenings and doing the trial watch. And I thank y'all for supporting. You know, tonight I had almost like, I think I held a good 20 people up in here for a lot of the time. And trust and believe, with this content, that 20 people was a lot. I was gagged. That means that this is growing. So I want to thank all of y'all for supporting this content and coming through and sticking and staying with it. You know, and participating and being active in the chat. You know, it was a search scene for a presumed alive child. It didn't become a crime scene until afterwards. I'll still be here and I'll still support. But thank you, Sweet Vampy. Thank you. Great crowd tonight. I know. Lady Steph. Okay, tell me about it. At 22 people in here for over an hour, I was stoked. I was like, ooh, we full tonight. All right, you guys. Thank y'all so much for coming through and participating and engaging in this content. I will be back tomorrow. I'm shooting for between 7 and 7:30 in the evening Central Standard Time, and I will be putting up the postings to let y'all know for certain I'm coming. Until that time, until we meet again, y'all be blessed. Don't be stressed. You can handle all the rest and try to decompress from all this. It's kind of sensitive, and it's a horrific situation, but it's always things we can gather from this, what is called the judicial system. Good night, everybody. See y'all tomorrow in the morning for affirmations. Bye. I'm about to hang up. Let me do this one.